restless dreams I walked alone. Narrow streets of cobblestone. Beneath the halo of a street lamp, I turned my back.
Buy any cars lately, anybody? Buy any cars, huh? Oh, sorry, Jim Tressel. That was a little shot to you, but that's what we're coming up next here is Jim Tressel's debacle of a bunch of NCAA violations, and I'm not very detailed in this. I'm gonna let the expert in this go ahead.
Okay, I'm a Sports Illustrated subscriber, as I would assume quite a few people are that listen. 'Cause Sports Illustrated is pretty awesome. Now, I subscribe to it. I don't read it that often because, frankly, Sports Illustrated does have a ton of outdated information in it.
And it's really detailed too. I don't like how it's really in detail. It's kind of weird.
They use facts way too much. I hate that. I hate facts just get in my way. I cannot stand facts. They make too much sense. It hurts my head. Come on, Corey, you're better than that.
It's okay.
Anyway, I love facts. That's why I love Sports Illustrated, because they just get into it. And these two guys that wrote this, George Dorman and David Epstein, I've actually never heard of them before, but I'm sure they're fantastic SI writers.
Probably.
Did a fantastic job. Did a lot of research. Did a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
This is the whole detail thing I'm talking about.
7-page, in-depth report on all the bad stuff Jim Tressel has been doing from, as this report has pointed out, the word go when he started his head coaching career. This is a man, might I point out, that has been described as a senator. And people, as it says in the article here, admire his faith in God and often mention the prayer request box on the desk in his office at Ohio State. He is considered, I guess, a man of faith. He talks about virtues of, as it says in the article here again, I'm kind of reading verbatim, kind of not. He believes in things such as humility, faith, and gratitude.
Yeah.
And uses a moniker, a trademark, if you will, that he says his teams play as hard as we can play and respect as hard as we can respect. I guess the respect thing only applies when you're not talking about NCAA violations.
Yeah, that's true.
From square one at Youngstown State with legendary quarterback, let me find his name, Ray Isaac, who was the stud quarterback at Youngstown State, apparently took $10,000 worth of donations from this, where is it written down? CEO, Manis and Manis, this weird, I want to say, it sounds like a law firm. I don't know if it is a law firm. Mickey Manis. It's a school trustee. Oh, it's a drugstore chain. I'm sorry. Sounds like a law firm, but it's a drugstore chain. Manis and Manis is this drugstore chain that has given, over the course of Ray Isaac's career, $10,000 worth of donations, as well as a car. And Jim Tressel knew about it. This report creates paints the picture, if you will, that Jim Tressel encouraged getting money for players, which actually, if it wasn't illegal, I would too, because you're not making any money going to college.
No.
That's what I would like to say this before we really get into this too much, is that at the end of the day, we're talking about people that have the money giving it to players just because they like the way they play, period.
And yet it's an NCAA violation.
And because it's an NCAA violation, this apparently is a total mess. And I actually don't get it. I don't get why it's wrong for players to receive money from boosters. I don't get it. I don't get why it's bad.
It's not like we're talking about like millions of dollars here.
Right, we're talking about $500 here, a couple $1,000 there.
I mean, you need to have some money to survive college. I mean,
in modern society, and these college players, I don't want to say, oh, the poor college player, because it's really not that. Because whether anybody finds out about it or not, if you need the money and you're a superstar on your football team, you're gonna get the money. You're gonna get a dinner here. You're gonna, maybe a car here. and we'll get to Terrell Pryor in a second, who his violations are the most extensive.
Yeah.
And just him. And they're just, I mean, we're just at the tip of the iceberg with Terrell Pryor. His violations, because Jim Tressel knew about them, make it so much worse. And we'll get to that in a second. But as I said, from square one, and not only at Youngstown State did Jim Tressel know about it, but Leslie Cohran, who was the president of Youngstown State, he knew about it. They also paint the picture that he encouraged to encourage. So Youngstown State, you don't want to say that because they're not as high profile. It doesn't look like it's as bad as Ohio State looks, but in reality, Tressel's violations at Youngstown State were almost worse, and well, they were definitely worse, and it was a bigger mess.
Yeah.
And more people knew about it. More people were involved. Less high profile people. But it was just a bigger mess. Youngstown State was a total disaster. And that's what bothers me about Jim Tressel, is that he encourages this violations, this behavior, all this nonsense.
He just doesn't care.
And he doesn't care. And he's written books about morality and about how great a Christian he is. And this is just like a politician. This whole collapse, it's just like Newt Gingrich. Do you remember when Newt Gingrich prosecuted Bill Clinton for having sex in the Oval Office?
Yeah.
While all that time, Newt Gingrich was getting blown by his secretary in
Yeah.
a limo. And he talked about morals and values all the time.
Yeah.
Okay? These people that claim to have high morals and high standards drive me crazy. If you actually had high morals, you don't talk about your morals. You keep that to yourself, because one of your morals are humility. And the fact that Tressel just threw himself out there, oh, I'm this great Christian, this family man, and yet all my players, I'm encouraging behavior that is going to get my school in trouble.
Yeah.
Even if the behavior isn't that bad, which I don't think it is. One way or the other, it's against the rules, and the fact that you're encouraging that is ridiculous. So, Youngstown State, almost a bigger mess than Ohio State was. However, oh wait, it's back here. Ohio State was obviously the mess to end all messes in NCAA violations. I mean, this report really goes at it, and Ohio State makes what happened at USC with Pete Carroll,
Oh God, yeah.
with Reggie Bush, and what happened at Tennessee with Bruce Pearl having his recruits over for a cookout at his house, makes those things look like a walk in the park. Everybody was getting money from boosters. Everybody was getting free cars. Everybody was turning in their memorabilia and getting free tattoos. Tressel knew about it. Tressel encouraged it. Okay? Ignorance was the key. Because he found out about all of it and didn't report it, claiming he couldn't think of whom to tell. The AD? The president? Go tell somebody. And who am I going to tell? Who am I going to tell? Oh, all my players are making NCAA violations. I'm just going to, I don't know who to tell. Oh, don't worry about it. I'll just leave it on my desk for another week. And then all of a sudden, you have to resign because you're screwed. Because you read through this, I totally get why he resigned. It's a mess. Star quarterback, we went over that already. He told certain players to go certain places to get. Maurice Claret received money and benefits like crazy. He was, Tressel, people talk about Maurice Claret, and it says in the report here that Tressel arranged cars for Maurice Claret to use, arranged for him to get funds, and Tressel, and they always say Tressel spent more time with him than any other player, and yet at the same time, being around Claret more than anybody else, at the same time he said he had no idea that this was going on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not even ignorance, from what I think. I think he's just lying. I think he knew. I think he encouraged it, and he's just making stuff up. It's unbelievable. And so now he resigns. He had 4 years for $3.5 million a year on his contract, and he resigned. And apparently 28 players did what we originally thought 5 players did. which was to go in and turn in memorabilia and get free tattoos
Yeah.
from this tattoo parlor where the owners of the tattoo parlor have been arrested and charged with drug trafficking. I mean, that's what makes it worse. Not only are you dealing with people, you're dealing with nasty people. The people that are doing this are just horrible.
Yeah.
And I mean, a lot of this, like who's I talking about? Your Monis people. No, is that right? Monis
and Monis.
Monis. The Monis guys, both of them were being prosecuted for bank wire, mail fraud, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, interstate transportation of stolen goods, and looting corporate coffers.
This is just a lack of judgment. Like, what is wrong with them? Like, seriously, how much does it take to know? These guys have committed a bunch of stupid crimes, but yet we're gonna let our college players do this?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just a lack of.
Those are the ones you hear about. Most boosters are alma maters
Yeah.
of the university, upstanding members of society that just go, hey, here's $500. Go.
Just because I like you.
Yeah, go take your girlfriend out to dinner or something. That's most of it. However, the ones that look nasty, the ones that make it look immoral, even though it's really not, the one that it's really the fact that it's immoral is really a facade because we want to control players for no other reason than we think we can.
Yeah.
And that's the worst part of it is you're making it bad for all the other boosters that are really just trying to do a good thing.
Yeah.
And
I mean, what's wrong with giving a college player some money?
I don't get it.
We're not throwing out millions of dollars at them like they're going to probably get in the NFL if they're a star.
Right.
They're just going, okay, this kid's struggling with money, like pretty much everyone in America because our economy blows.
Right.
I
College
mean,
people in general.
why not give them some money? I mean, I'm sure every other kid wants some money too. I mean, these guys are star athletes. They deserve at least a little bit. And why not be generous and have this old guy or this person be going, okay, I'm a generous enough person. Maybe I'll give this kid a little extra cash, take his friends out to go and eat, the girlfriend, do whatever. Let the college kids have fun.
But at the same time, the ones that we're reading about in the article, Monis.
That's just
Bank, wire and mail fraud,
Yeah.
conspiracy, obstruction of justice, interstate transportation of stolen goods, related to his looting of Farmore's corporate coffers.
and I get that, but
I mean,
that's
that's
just kind of like
one
a judgment.
bad example. And if you don't know, where the money is coming from, number one,
Then,
you
yeah.
probably should be smart enough not to take it. I mean, that's the thing. If you know this money is coming from a bad place, wouldn't you would think you'd be smart enough not to take the money. So, I mean, doing research would be number one. Like, I want to know where my money is coming from. I want to know where my money is going because
Yeah.
I'm a responsible individual. Some of these people, if you're taking money from someone that you know is in hot water,
Yeah.
it makes absolutely no sense. And the fact that Tressel knew about all this, and he's encouraging encouraging it.
Yeah, especially because maybe one of these kids could have gotten hurt or something. I mean, with all those things you're talking about, these bad people, you never know what'll happen.
Right, and especially the drug traffickers.
Yeah, I mean, that's just...
I would say drug trafficking
You're
is
waiting
bad.
for something bad to happen for that. So I think it's just a lack of judgment and lack of sense almost,
Okay.
at least for those.
Mm-hmm. All right, in conclusion, my favorite part of the whole story, Terrell Pryor, who was one of the ones who traded his memorabilia for tattoos.
Yeah.
Where is it? Oh, okay. It's not in here, but I know it happened because we've been reading about it all the time. This is something that's going to be a big mess all summer with Terrell Pryor because he's probably going to jump ship for the NFL now. He's probably going to try to go to the NFL because there's no way he's going back.
Mm-hmm.
Here's why. Odd coincidence. Terrell Pryor has had well, here, let me ask you a question. Since you've been alive, or at least however long you've been conscious,
Yeah.
how many cars has your family owned?
4? And
4 cars.
Not really good ones, like really old, used, beat-up cars.
4 cars in 16 years?
Yeah.
Terrell Pryor, not making this up, swear to God, 8 cars in 3 years.
Oh my god.
All of them being these hot sports cars. I think all of them, they've all come from the same owner. These Nissan Zs. They're small. They're coupes. I've seen them around. They're
I haven't
big,
seen 'em.
big motors, loud, fast. And it's funny because the B-roll that SportsCenter ran when they were talking about this, it shows Terrell Pryor in one of his sports cars pulling out of the practice facility and running a red light to drive off. It is so funny. So it's like, oh no, we don't know where that came from. 8 cars in 3 years, and he hasn't violated NCAA rules.
Nope.
No,
No.
he has the money to do that. Now, I'm actually an anomaly because my parents, we, for whatever reason, we don't really have the money, but we buy cars, like cigarettes. I mean, we have 4 cars right now,
Yeah.
and my dad buys them 3, 4 at a time. I don't know why. He is a bit of a motor aficionado,
Yeah.
so I think that's why. But your average human being will probably have 8 cars in their lifetime.
Not even a little bit lower, depending on their class.
Yeah.
Economic wise.
Yeah, you're middle class, average like us, middle
Yeah.
class.
Maybe 6, 8.
Right, 6 to 8 cars in their
In
lifetime.
your entire life.
Okay, I've driven really 2. I've gone back and forth between 2 cars since I've had my driver's license.
I've gone a little bit with 2 and then some with 3, but right now I have my own car.
So I mean, like 8 cars in 3 years, and he's not violating NCAA rules. Come on. And
Maybe
Tressel
if
knew
his-
about it. Tressel knew about the dealer. Tressel knew when he got the cars, how he got the cars. There was probably an envelope full of money in those
Yeah.
cars. I mean, Pryor is a mess, and
Yeah.
Pryor needs to be suspended. I mean, he could be kicked off the team for this, because I mean, it is such a mess. I mean, this is the violation to end all violations. You talk
Yeah.
about stuff that is nasty, and what would make it even worse is if the car dealer goes to prison for drug trafficking. Like, I mean, isn't that just? I'm sure he's a very nice man who sold him the car. I'm sure it's a lovely car dealer who does a lot of good things for the Columbus, Ohio area.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, because it's an NCAA violation and Tressel didn't report it, he didn't want to report it, he didn't think about reporting it, he just did it. That's why he resigned, and ultimately, I'll let you wrap this up here. Do you think Jim Tressel can get hired again within the next 5 years? I know he can get hired outside of that, because at the end of the day, 83%,
Yeah.
almost an 83% winning percentage.
I feel like he'd get hired in the next 5 years, but
As a
maybe
head
not,
coach in big-time college football.
not in the next year, but definitely in the next 5.
Mhm.
I mean, I wouldn't be too shocked if it was in like the next year, but for all these allegations and all these things are going on, I think he's gonna have to take some time off and get this figured out. And up next, we have the NFL labor situation still going on. That whole lockout that I really wish would end, but still things going on, and a secret meeting was going on in an area that we kind of live by. We're gonna get to that next. It was totally secret.
It's BWC Internet Radio.